High school sports fans, high school football fans, welcome to PennZone, our high school football watch along and post-game show. We're going to be calling it live. We got Brian Linder here, trending news guru, high school sports, high school football expert, alongside myself, sports editor Austin Hertzog. We're picking up the games right now. We got fresh on the screen right now, Brian, we got Northern versus Gettysburg. We got a good one going here, actually. Northern is driving, and they're in the red zone, potentially getting this back to a one-score game. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Well, I still got the beer going, man. I'm hanging in there another week. We're flying by. You know, I was thinking about Austin as Northern drives down the field here. This is week 3, right? So, you know, after this week, we're fastly approaching the midpoint of the regular season. So week
Can I correct you? We're at
week
week 4, man. We're week 4.
It's already sped up past. That's what I was thinking. It's already sped up past my. It's jumped up on me, you know. And
no, it really has. Well, yeah. You look at it, you think about the regular season. I mean, you blink again, and it's the halfway point, and it just goes so fast.
We'll be doing mid-season all-stars and stuff like that in another week or two. You know, looking at who the top people have been in the mid-pen, and maybe some from around the state. So it's crazy to think. We wait all year for football season, and here it goes. I'll tell you what, looking at this Northern game as we get started off here tonight, you know, I have a pretty good relationship with Northern's coach, Bill Miller. He's a pretty good guy. Looks like they just turned it over.
Yeah.
And Gettysburg's, you know, look, Northern lost a lot coming in this year. They lost Cole Bartram, who was, you know, one of the top rushers in the area the last couple years. Some good linemen. I think they had a good lineman get hurt going into last week's game against Lower Dauphin. So, you know, they were looking for a lot of answers coming in this year. I think they've probably been a little bit scrappier than I actually expected them to be. But, you know, Bill's system, I don't think it's a flashy one. They're going to run the ball, try to play some defense, and that's going to allow you to get and stay into a lot of high school games if you can do it without messing up too much.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was keeping tabs on this one. Northern went down 14-0 at half, and then they let up an opening score. It ended up 19-0. But then that was when they came alive. Gabe Johnson's really been shouldering the load from a running standpoint for Northern to get them back in this. But yeah, it's been a solid performance from Gettysburg as well, though, to be up in the leading position.
Gettysburg's a team that I thought the last 2 years Austin would be a little bit better than they have been. Their quarterback here, Brady Heiser, number 4 there, is pretty good. I think he can play at the college level at some level. And their running back, Preston Burnett, has been really good. They just haven't put it all together beyond that the last couple of years. I think that's Burnett there. So you can see he didn't go down. He's not a big guy, but, I mean, that's a nice run, Austin. He broke two tackles right there at the line of scrimmage and powered through them and showed a little bit of – he's a good football player.
Yeah, it's good. Getting the edge there, beat the cornerback there, a little block. Yeah, nicely done to pick up the extra yards.
He's been one of the better rushers the last 2 years in the mid-pen and probably a little underrated. Like, you don't see a lot about him. He's a good football player.
And this is a matchup of two teams that are both 1-1 in the Keystone and 1-2 overall. So it's we talk about how early or how late it is in the season, but man, you don't want to be sitting at 1-3 after 4 weeks. So 2-2 feels a heck of a lot different, I think, than 1-3 does.
I tell you what, as we get the show started, watching Northern lost to Lower Dauphin last week. We gave Lower Dauphin a lot of credit, and Josh Borelli a lot of credit because of what he's done with that program. But actually, I had a story today. I wasn't even aware of this last week. Josh Borelli was suspended 2 games because he had a DUI in July. And, I mean, I will give him credit. He spoke to Eric Epler, a reporter, kind of owned it. But, you know, that's the second coach in the area over the last year, though, that's got a DUI. And DUIs aren't the end of the world until they are, until you mess up and you hurt somebody, you know. And like I said, I'll give Josh credit for owning it and saying he's got to do better. But coaches, players, Uber's too easy, my guys. Uber is too easy in 2024. Okay? You can save yourself a lot of heartache. And look, you go out and you think everything's good and you have one too many and you hit somebody and kill somebody and your life's over. So that's some breaking news, not to be a Debbie Downer as we start the podcast.
No, it's you're right. And honestly, it's a learning spot here, and thankfully no one was injured. So yeah, now we can turn the page, learn the right lesson, and brighter skies ahead for Borelli and company. So he was scheduled to be back on the sideline tonight after the 2-game suspension. So therefore, Lower Dolphin, I guess, sort of business back as usual as things continue. It looks like that game was 12-0 at the half, I believe.
I think Heiser got him to jump all sides. Now Gettysburg's across midfield. So this is a big possession here for Northern. Like you said, they were down 14-0. They kind of played them, got back into it a little bit here. They can get a stop and a score. We got a game. But Heiser's kind of and Burnett kind of carrying them down the field here at Gettysburg. So see what they got going here. Like I said, I'll give Borelli credit for owning it, Austin. And if you guys want to read more about that, it's on PennLive.com. Eric Epler broke that story today. Actually, Hummelstown Sun, I believe, was the first to report it. But Eric Epler talked to Borelli today. So
To touch on that game, Mechanicsburg leads 15-0. Actually, okay, now 22-0. Producer Megan, quick on it, as she always is, sharp as ever. So she brought us over to the Mechanicsburg Lower Dolphin game, 22-0.
I picked Mechanicsburg to win this one. I felt like they had a few more weapons.
Zings it forward. The pass headed the way of Brandon Fritz.
Here
comes a flag.
You got to go get that one if you're Brandon. Look how big that kid is. I want to see him go get that ball in that play. He kind of waited on it to come to him. That length and size to that ball. This is a good game last week.
Generally has been a fairly well-called game, and we've got a nice lead.
I think Mechanicsburg, though,
that's the difference, too, in the high school game with 5 officials versus
Eli
7.
Ryder, their quarterback,
he's actually at the line of scrimmage. That's a 35-yard pass in the air, and from where he's at, he's going to call interference. I'm not sure that was. You'd rather see an official.
Yeah, I know Smith had a TD earlier. He's had a really strong start to the year.
I mean, he's probably a kid who's probably on that first half.
At Mifflin County last week, District 6, we saw 6 officials.
Yeah, they had one in the middle of the field, but they had 2 back on the sidelines, and I'd never really seen that before, to be honest with you. You get the playoffs, you do get the 7-man crew, but we get 5-man crew, which is pretty steep.
You got to go get that ball when you're that. Look at his length on that corner.
But it leaves
that's the right size advantage you'd be looking for. So you got to respond there.
You got it.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Right. Hey, he heard you, man. I think he heard you.
He can do that all night, man.
Yeah.
I've
always felt that way, that when you have a real huge advantage at a matchup, man, I think teams just try to be too balanced sometimes. Like sometimes it's really simple. That just exploit your matchup advantage.
Yeah.
I got you back, Brian.
Did you lose me?
You got dropped out for a second, but we're glad to have you back. Yeah, I was just saying that sometimes when you got a big advantage at a matchup, exploit it until it stops working and the other team adjusts. I think sometimes football, if it can be really simple if you want it to be.
They're feeding them.
What does this game look like if they're feeding Smith the ball more? Is it a little different? Is it not a 22-0 game?
That's Fritz there, right? Was that Fritz that time, or that's another receiver? Actually, I think right. Fritz is on.
Yeah.
Split out wide to the other side now.
I gotta see.
They actually got some guys with some size on the wide receiver positions. So maybe Lower Dolphins found something here. Of course, it's late in the game now, so
yeah,
might be too late. I don't see him coming back in this one. So this will be a good start. This will be 4-0 for Mechanicsburg, I believe. You know, with a new coach, Dave Heckard, longtime wrestling coach in the area. You have me, Austin? Look, I think I'm froze up.
In terms of just looking at each play, they're dangerous, right? Now they have nothing to lose. They do have athletes; they can take some chances. And
You got me?
when you take some chances, you learn something about yourself.
Yeah, I do, but I'm wondering if it's me.
I can hear you.
Well, I'll just keep talking. I am Austin, I am sitting stone faced for the rest. I'm going to show you guys how I can talk without moving my lips. What do you think about that? The talent. Look, everything doesn't go perfectly on a live stream, folks. That's sort of the fun with it. We're out here without a safety net sometimes. So, Lord Dolphin driving down the field though. Look, now I'm moving again. And Austin disappeared. So I'm fine on the actual live, says producer Megan.
Okay, then. You can just talk to me until we get Austin back.
Are you on the live stream, Megan?
Yes. How do you think we're getting the games?
Megan, how are you doing in the picks?
I'm not the top of the picks anymore, which is the universe writing itself. Like Tom had a better record than me last year.
Did you see who went 18-1 last week, Megan?
Yes. Well, Tom did really well last week. He did very, very well.
He did.
I think I got greedy with my amount of streams that I had going. I think is what happened there. My computer stopped liking the fact that I had 6 games streaming at once.
There you go. You know, we reporters, we are famous for having like 35 windows open anyway.
True story.
18-1 in the picks last week, Austin.
Woo! He's hot, folks. He's heating up.
And we don't just pick winners. We pick against spreads.
That's right.
So I think time is running out on Lower Dolphin here. Mechanicsburg will go 4-0. Good for them. Hey, Pennsylvania Player of the Week this week was Braden McCarthy, sophomore from Blackhawk, won our fan vote. So he'll be getting a shirt. Talk to him today some more. He had like 143 yards and 2 called another.
You got to love how far and wide the state player of the week comes from each week. It's great.
It's been the small schools popping up early this year. It's usually the bigger schools, but we had winners from Alice Ramos, from McCaskey, kid from Greensburg Salem, and then this week from Blackhawk. Hey, we got CD East and Carlisle up here right now. It's 21-12. And, CD East is winning this game. Looks like they're trying to put some more points on the board here.
At the same time, though, this is a game that I don't know if we would have anticipated it was going to be a 9-point game this late, considering 3-0 CD East versus 0-3 Carlisle. So
that's Carlisle with the ball. They kind of tricked me there with the black pants, black helmets. They've got the ball. I should have known that, dark jerseys. Down 21-12. Carlisle has gotten roughed up. I think last week Central Dauphin beat them pretty good. CD East is off to an undefeated start. They beat Cedar Cliff last week. Like you said, this is a little bit of a surprise here. And look, there's 7 minutes left to go in this game. If Carlisle can score here, it gets really interesting, right? Coach Brandon Cook there in his second year. Trying to rebuild the Carlisle program. And like I said, they've had a rough year. Ooh, CDE swarming to the ball. Flexing. City East has some nice players. Linebacker Zach Brown. Austin has got some big-time college offers. Our guys are really high on him. I think he's one of the better defensive players in the area in Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Let's
run down a few scores. Yeah, actually, let's watch this play, and then I'll run down a few scores from the mid-pen. Spreading them out.
15 yard line, 14.
Yeah, third and 12. Third and goal, really.
It was a nice little play call. It's a good play by the corner there.
Yeah, really nice to get his offhand involved for that deflection. Yeah, well done by that nickel.
Yeah, I mean, that play had a shot. Wasn't a bad play call.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? We're kicking. We're kicking now.
Yeah.
So if they make
that's probably right, especially with 12 yards to go on fourth down.
They make
to get it to be a one possession game, and that's right. If you have confidence in your kicker to be able to make what are we looking at?
Football. We got a lineman running all late.
Too many weeks in for that.
I used to get so aggravated when I was coaching middle school football, and I would go to our varsity games, stand on the sideline, because when our guys who've been on kick team all year, we're in the 9th game of the season or whatever, and they're running on late.
Yep.
I'm like, how are we doing this? How are you forgetting your own?
Yeah.
So it looks like they called time out.
Yeah, they did. They're having second thoughts about whether this is their moment or not.
I think with a kid running on late, you had to call timeout. And I think they just
because you don't want to lose that extra 5 yards and move that back to instead of a 29-yarder into a 34-yarder.
Yeah,
start to have questions about the ability to execute it.
Yeah, that hurts too with 5:59 left.
That's the part that really hurts. That's just a timeout that you can't waste there. It's too important in a game like this. And let me run down other scores in the mid-pen quick. We're looking at Mechanicsburg extended the lead on Lower Dauphin, now 29-0 there late in the fourth. West Perry 24, Susquehanna Township 14. It's been an interesting one up there. Eric Epler up at West Perry. Gettysburg 19, Northern 7. Middletown 33, Boiling Springs 7. We got I was reading the scores. What happened, Brian?
I don't know. I was looking for scores too.
Oh man.
Missed it.
We totally missed it.
Well, they didn't make the field goal.
That is fact. We can't promise that. CD ball. Oh, look at Megan. She's gonna pull it back and show us. We're going to replay. Central Dauphin 21, Altoona 0. East Pennsboro 7, Greencastle Antrim 3. Shippensburg 33-13 over Palmyra. We've got Steel High 15, Upper Dauphin 8. State College has pulled away a little bit from Cumberland Valley on what's been a good game, 24-14 on that one. Trinity hammering Susquehanna 48-0. Juniata doing the same to James Buchanan 35-0. And we got a couple scores that are late.
Jesse pointed out that it was blocked ahead of the call here. That's tough luck for Carlisle. I give them all the credit in the world. I really thought there we get the little return.
Yeah.
PD East might beat them up in this game. So I give them a lot of credit for being in it.
Yeah. Well, you could see there that the defensive line absolutely exploded the offensive line. That never even had a chance. The kicker could barely get it above the player's waistline just because the line of scrimmage had been blown up so much. So, I mean, well done by the special teams on CD East to not even allow that to become a question.
Now, is that Leon Parson or Jared Porter? Looks like Jared Porter to me.
Let's grab the.
Jared Porter is one of the better running backs in the state. He's been out with an injury, though. I will tell you guys, Leon Parson, not Parsons like Micah Parsons, filled in for him and is among the mid-Penn's leading rushers. It's been really good. I think that's Jared Porter back in there. I could be wrong. That was a nice run.
Trying to find their roster quick.
We're popping back over, and all of a sudden, Northern and Gettysburg are in a 3-point ball game with 22 seconds to go. So scrappy performance by Northern. I think that's Leon Parson that was running that football, not Jared. Jared Porter's 3, but like 8 running the ball. So I'm pretty sure that's Leon Parson. He's had a really good start to the year filling in for Jared.
Yeah.
Get a kick here, Austin.
Didn't
get the bounce.
Didn't get any hop.
So we say West Perry is beating Susquehanna Township.
Yes, sir. 24-14.
So look,
let's take a look at what the latest from Epler is.
East Pennsboro 7, Greencastle Antrim 3 is a final. Offensive fireworks there. I like Joe Heaton a lot, coach at Susquehanna Township. Good guy. I like Bob Bowden a lot, the coach at West Perry. Great guy. Athlete-wise, West Perry shouldn't be in that game. So that's just a heck of a job by Bob Bowden. I mean, he beat Trinity a couple years ago when they had Messiah Mickens and Emil Way and all the guys that they got, and some of them, Tandy Young and stuff like that are transferred out. That would be a big win, an impressive win for West Perry. And even though West Perry's undefeated, this game's over here. Gettysburg takes that win 25-22. Even though West Perry is undefeated, if they can, just athlete-wise on paper, you look at it, Torin Young threw for 400 yards last week, is one of the top passers in the mid-pen. Lex Cyrus is a wide receiver who's committed to South Carolina. Jarrett Kearns got college offers at wide receiver. Man-to-man, Austin, skill-wise, shouldn't be a game.
Yeah. Well, and hey, that one's going to be a done deal here. The latest from Eric Epler. Quarterback Cole Brown hit Trent Hockenberry for a 64-yard TD to put West Perry up 31-14 with under a minute to play. So big win for West Perry there. Hey, Brian, you know how we keep our eyes around the state? Here's another one. We're over here now in the Conshohocken area, where Manheim Township, our #1 team in the Dandy Dozen for PennLive, is on the road at Plymouth White Marsh. That's a game that I had my eye on throughout the night, just because, Manheim Township standing in District 3 being what it is. And PW isn't a team that's been a dominant force in District 1 for many years at all, but they've been trending in the right direction here in the last few. So I think it's bearing itself out here to see a really tight game there. I have a friend who was at that game actually, and he texted me a picture of Manheim Township has a full size jumbo TV screen on the sideline to watch and review plays for the entire team. Never seen anything like it.
McDevitt has a tent with TV screens and stuff in it, and they go and they watch film and stuff during the game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the latest on this one is Plymouth White Marsh 18-17 with just under a minute left, but looks like Township is driving inside the red zone here. Blue Streak's trying to stay on top of the old PennLive Dandy Dozen.
I'm looking at scores and getting messages and stuff. It's uh-oh. Looks like we got a big play there. Almost had a big play.
Yeah, I just got texted from the friend who's there, who's actually helping out with PennLive. He said that it's been a heck of a finish down there at PW. What other scores are catching your eye, Brian?
I keep thinking about this West Perry game. You startled me a little bit, and everybody's watching to get some dead air from me because I'm over here looking at what people are saying. I'm really thought that look again. I shouldn't be surprised by now though when Bob Bowden goes out and wins a big game. He's done a good job beating some teams maybe before, and we didn't think that they had a shot. And they're going to beat Susquehanna Township, folks, and I'll be interested to see how people respond to that. I'm messaging with Elias Coach's mom. We may get the Harrisburg guys on there out of the McDevitt game tonight, so they may come on a little bit, talk about their game tomorrow.
We may have to go only one person at a time this week. While it was great to have the whole gang, made for a little bit tricky of a show last week.
Well, we'll see who pops on. I think the good thing about Harrisburg, one of the fun things about covering them is they play on Saturdays, so you get to cover a lot of their games. Like they play Chambersburg tomorrow, but then Friday nights you can get them to pop in a lot. Those guys and talk to them. I was watching their podcast earlier this week, so let me pull up the
I always appreciate having a few Saturday games that those Saturday programs are able to kind of have their own breathing space. It's sort of their own, they get their own time. I always find that challenging with high school sports and sports in general, is they're all occurring so simultaneously, and you might have a ton of interest. Might have a ton of interest in being a part of it.
Hey, Megan says Team Harrisburg is on, so let's see who.
Yes, I'm going to bring on some guests right now.
Elias,
what's up?
Are you walking around the Bishop McDevitt game talking to us?
Yeah.
Hey, let's get the live report from Harrisburg receiver Elias Koch from the Bishop McDevitt game. What's going on out there, man?
Oh, man, it's a blowout right now. It's 56-16, fourth quarter with 9 minutes left. McDevitt's just dominating. I think they got some of their JVs in right now. But
who did McDevitt play tonight again, guys? Slipping my mind. Uh-oh, we lost him.
Love it. Hey, he's got sportscaster future in him. He was giving the recap there beautifully.
I believe they were playing Cedar Cliff.
Oh yeah.
Hang on. They're done because it was a blowout. Yes, it was Cedar Cliff.
Yeah, Cedar Cliff has had a history of look, McDevitt's roughed them up pretty good at times, but they've also had a sort of a history of kind of out, playing a little bit better than expectations. They beat them one year. I covered the game when we didn't really think that they had a shot.
Yeah.
Hopping back in, man.
Stop.
So they roughed Cedar Cliff up tonight.
Yes.
I think Messiah Mickens is with you. Messiah, how's it going, man?
Good. How are y'all?
Man, we this is like our Friday night Harrisburg segment for people who don't know on the show now, man. Hey, you guys got Chambersburg tomorrow.
Yeah.
Look, we talked about all the adversity you guys have been through. I know you guys talked about it a little bit on your podcast. First of all, you guys got a podcast. Also, I want them to plug their podcast real quick.
I was gonna say, yeah, absolutely.
You guys got a podcast. Right? Talk about that real quick.
I know. What's the podcast? I don't really be on it. I just be playing. I just play the game. Yeah, it's called Cougar Den. So we go every Wednesday or Thursday, every Thursday, and we just hop on live on Facebook, talk to the guests and stuff, and we have some people that come in and ask us some questions and stuff.
What I like about it is you guys don't just talk about football, you talk about life and things like that too. I saw you guys are talking about your grades and keeping that up and stuff. And I'll tell you guys, some of the best athletes I ever covered didn't go do anything because they didn't have grades. So that is key. And I'm glad you guys are focusing on that. You guys had all that adversity, losing Kevin Brown to the broken foot, losing Shawnee. Now you won 2 really big games. You beat State College last week. Elias, you had a key block to help win that game. How's the Harrisburg Cougars feeling right now, man? How are you guys doing right now at 2-1?
We definitely think we definitely do have to do better. Right now it's been a couple of rough games, too close. We won 7-6 to State College, which we definitely think we should have won by more. But we just got to finish the offense and lock in.
Messiah, how you feeling, man? Look, it's your first couple games with Harrisburg after transferring over, man. How's it starting to develop?
I would just say, as a team, I don't think we're really satisfied with how everything's going. As a whole, we practice a lot. We're on the same page, so I just think things just got to be better moving forward. But it will, new team, new everything. So everything's definitely going to start clicking. So we're not really worried about that much. We're just going to go out and play our game for real. So we'll be fine.
Hey, man.
Messiah, what's been most challenging about getting integrated in a new team where there's guys that can play, but what's been the biggest challenge of getting integrated with the group?
Honestly, everything right now for me is mental, just knowing that I'm not the only guy on the team, knowing that we got a team full of superstars. So just understanding, playing the game the right way. So honestly, that's it. Just going out there and playing football, everything that I love to do. So.
Well, look, guys, Chambersburg tomorrow. That's when everybody's kind of picking you guys to win, but you can't sleep on anybody, right? So what's the feeling going into tomorrow?
Just coming out 110%, playing every drive, 100%, playing as a team. To be honest, we don't really care about the score predictions because people had us losing to McDevitt and State College, so that really doesn't mean a thing. So, you just gotta play our game, play Cougar football for real.
I picked you guys to lose to McDevitt. Hey, but you know what? I never have a problem with anybody proving me wrong. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Hey, we appreciate you guys popping in your mom's comment and boom when I said that. So, and that's Cougars Den. Carla Hill helped you guys put that podcast together. Check that out. You want to hear from the guys. And look, we like having you guys on here on Friday nights, man. So you guys have a safe rest of the night, and we'll be watching you guys tomorrow. Okay.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
That was Elias Koch and Messiah Mickens, 2 of the best prospects in Pennsylvania, checking in.
I love it that we can get the top guys on live. Love having the Harrisburg gang always willing to come in. What a cool thing to be able to have, especially and hey, to be able to have Elias, who had that big block to preserve the win last Saturday, really the hero of that game as Harrisburg had to grind it out to beat State College, and really one of the most marquee games that we've had so far in the Mid-Penn.
Elias's mom, Carolyn Fortney, was on here commenting. I know she watches, but one of the really cool things is they're always either watching a game on Friday nights, but they also go to her house and watch film. She has a bunch of kids over and stuff, and I think that might be a neat story for us one day, just how they all kind of congregate at her house and watch some film and stuff and get ready for the game. But I love how
how you think, Brian.
I love how they watch games too, man. Like I said, I think they went to CD East last week, and now they're out at Bishop McDevitt. That tells you right there that they're big football fans too. Look, we got a final: West Perry 31, Susquehanna Township 14. Again, Bob Bowden does an excellent job at West Perry. I mean, just an excellent job. He was our coach a few years ago. I don't think I'm exaggerating. When I say on paper, West Perry probably should not have been in that game with Susquehanna Township. So just a heck of a win for West Perry there. I'm a little stunned, but maybe I shouldn't be by now. Maybe I should learn my lesson about Bob Bowden.
Tom's trying to join, but he's dropped, so I'm going to bring him in once he gets back.
Fair enough.
Carolyn Fortney said that's our football sons that congregate at her house on Fridays.
Hey, we got a final over there. State College 30, Cumberland Valley 14. The Little Lions did did the job there late to pull away and end up, with a nice 16-point win. So that's pretty strong.
They're good, man. They're good. I mean, that was a hard-fought 7-6 game last week with Harrisburg last Saturday. And again, Elias Koch had the big block in that game, who we just had on to kind of save it for Harrisburg. So, after getting punched in the mouth by LaSalle College, Harrisburg has now got 2 really good wins, beating Bishop McDevitt, come down to the last play of the game, and really State College coming down to almost the last play of the game. When we first looked at that team early in the season, before the season started, Austin, we figured they might be running by everybody, but then they had a major reshuffling of the deck, right? You lose Sean Lee to pit commit, Kevin Brown gets hurt. You got to figure some things out. And slowly but surely, they're figuring some things out. So it looks like we got Cedar Cliff here is just trying to get out of this one alive. This is the last stream still going on the night. I don't know how it's still going when it's 56-15 or 16. 56-16 here.
Yeah, we got a couple other finals as well. CD East ended up closing out that game. They ran out the last 6 minutes of the game against Carlisle for a 21-12 victory. CD East 4-0 for the first time since 2011. Not too shabby.
No. One of the better stories, Austin, about them, and I was telling Ramir Vaughn, their team is sponsored by Hager. And so, Lance Steen, when he took over there, he wanted them all to kind of dress up in suits and get a real game time feel. And Hager pitched in and suited all those kids up, man. So I want us to get out there maybe one day and tell that story. I feel like we're probably a little bit behind on that one. That's my fault. That was before your time here, Austin. But I want us to get out there and tell that, because I think it's really neat what they've done for those kids, and I think that's a good.
Yeah, I love it
for those kids. I'm trying to look at some state scores here as this one winds down. I picked Bishop McDevitt to win this one big, and they are. So, how about Easton? Easton was beating Bethlehem Catholic pretty good. I think that was probably expected, but Easton's having a heck of a season all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people saw them coming, and they are. It looks like
they're consistently tough, though. I mean, and yeah, you can never sleep on Bethlehem Catholic, so to be 28-7 in that one.
Was Shamokin beating Jersey Shore? I think so. That would be
Brian, a game that we were on for a moment there. Manheim Township was driving late. They ended up getting the field goal to win 20-18 at Plymouth White Marsh to win the game. 28, or it was with 26 seconds left. Johnny Morales, a 35-yard field goal that put Township up for good to our number 1 team in the Dandy Dozen, going to 4-0.
This running back for Bishop McDevitt's pretty quick. Whoever they have in here late. Is that the young kid, LaRue, maybe?
It's possible. I saw his name popping up here on the tweets. I know Evan Wheaton is out there, and I know that he.
So for you guys that don't know, they have the Jerome LaRue kid. I think his name's Jerome. He's a
correct. Yep, Jerome LaRue Jr. Yep.
And he had an offer from
Virginia Tech. It was
Virginia Tech before he ever played a high school down. So. And then they have Maurice Barnes, who's got a couple offers. And then Naj Jones-Davis. PA Trenches chiming in. What away from Manheim Township in that game versus Speed Up. It is PA Trenches. I'll tell you, man, Mark Evans does a good job at Manheim Township. Tough loss last year to Harrisburg in that District 3 title game. But when I first got here to PennLive, Mark Evans called me, and that's really when we were really covering the LL League hard. He wanted to make sure that we were paying attention to his guys, and I always appreciate that from a coach, because not every coach is like that, and it wasn't like in a pushy way. It was just like, hey, I got some guys. You know, if you guys are doing rankings and stuff, pay attention to Anthony Ivy and these kind of guys like that. And, you know, I know Anthony Ivy's at Penn State. And he does a heck of a job out there, though. And, you know, we thought they would be a little bit down after last year, Austin, because they were really good last year. Okay. They beat Harrisburg in a season opener, beat them pretty good, and then lost a heck of a game in the District 3 title game to them. And now it doesn't necessarily surprise me to see Manheim Township playing really well again.
Yeah.
Mark runs a heck of a program there, PA Trenches.
Over here on the third screen, you'll see producer Megan taking the shrewd move of let's give it to them. Let's give it to the folks graphically. So she's scrolling down some of the state scores. As you can see, we're coming all around the state with some of those scores.
Northwestern Lehigh with another big win tonight over Blue Mountain. I think they're off to a really good. They're looking really good again this season. How about this? Is this score correct? Mount Carmel 7, Southern Columbia 6 final. That would be 2 losses this season for Southern Columbia.
Oof.
They lost to Wyoming too.
That is a final. Mount Carmel 7, Southern Columbia 6. Southern Columbia 2-2 on the year. Mount Carmel defense did the job. 2 red zone stops in the first half and a turnover on downs in the fourth. That's not bad.
PA Trenches said Dante Lewis, freshman from Eastern York, hasn't missed a beat from youth football. Is the real deal. I'll take a look out for him, PA Trenches. I know that Bud Kyle, I think, is now at Eastern York, right? I know a lot of people, I haven't talked to Bud a ton, but I think a lot of people around here like him. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's now the head coach at Eastern York. Am I correct there, PA Trenches? I think he's respected by a lot of guys here in Central PA, Austin. I think he's actually from the Harrisburg area. I may be wrong. Again, I'm a transplant, but I do try to pay attention. But I do think Eastern York is having a better season than what they've had in the past. If I'm not mistaken, let me know on that, PA Trenches.
A quick aside, Brian. The Bishop McDevitt Cedar Cliff game did go final. That was 56-16. Bishop McDevitt. Stone Saunders now 7 passing touchdowns away from breaking the state all-time career mark of 176 career passing yards. So he's chasing down Mr. Irby's record from just a year ago.
Yeah, so for you people who don't know, last year we got the fun thing to be able to watch Alex Irby from Steel High. He's actually at Navy. He's actually playing for Navy Prep, which is like their undergrad kind of team to get him ready for Navy. He's talented enough he could have played at Navy, but I think it's just the thing Navy does, right, to get him ready. Either way, he had a really good first game for them. But he broke several of the state's all-time passing records. And this state has guys like Joe Montana and Dan Marino and Jim Kelly and Joe Namath come out of here, and so last year we got to follow that right here in our backyard. Steel High's quarterback, he broke the all-time passing touchdown record, the all-time yardage record, and now Stone Saunders, the quarterback from Bishop McDevitt this year, has a chance to do that too, and he's on track to break it's like Austin said, 7 away from the career passing touchdown record now, so it looks like he'll get that, and I think he's still maybe a few thousand off, but reachable from the all-time yardage record. We got Tom DeMartini with stats in his mouth, ready to go. Tom, what game are you at? Tell the people how things turned out there.
Oh, it was a big night here in Mechanicsburg. The Wildcats with a 29-0 Keystone Division victory over Lower Dauphin. Eli Reeder with a big game passing-wise, 200 and about 27 yards. Josh Smith with touchdown catches of 10 yards and 31 yards. Isaac Dahlman, 139 yards of rushing, 2 touchdowns, one of them a 90-yarder to cap the evening. So it was a big night for the Wildcats.
Yeah, look, I haven't seen Eli Ryder this year, but he threw for over 2,000 last year, and you said he had a good night tonight. How did he look throwing the ball? I mean, I think he's probably one of the more underrated guys in the conference right now.
Yeah, again, things that are lost in the stats. He hit Noah Apple with a 14-yard pass for a first and goal at the 1. to end the first quarter, and then Mechanicsburg opened the scoring with a 1-yard run from Dahlman. But the throws like that are important, and they kind of get lost in the stats. But the Reader did look good throwing the football, absolutely.
And Josh Smith, you said, another good night. I think he's also a guy who he's got a couple college offers, but I think people overlook how good he is. I mean, what did you think seeing him in person, Tom?
Very nice 31-yard catch and run. A little kind of a screen out to the flat. He was able to beat his coverage and then beat everybody else to the end zone. So he's very athletic, and he's going to be a big asset for them the rest of the way.
All right. Well, Tom, tuning in from there, Tom, we appreciate you, man.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Get that work in, man.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom. And right after, we got Ramir Vaughn coming in from the car.
Always.
Ramir, remind us where you were. Things are coming fast and furious for us, so let us know what was going on tonight for you.
I was at CD East at Carlisle. It was surprisingly for a team that's 3-0 in CD East and a team that was 0-3 in Carlisle. It was a surprisingly competitive game.
Yeah, we were keeping tabs on it actually at one point. What was the difference late? We saw the blocked field goal live on the show, which I think was probably a pivotal point.
Yes.
What did you see down the stretch that allowed CD East to keep their distance?
Leon Parsons. They gave him the ball at the end of the game with 6 minutes remaining left after the blocked field goal. And the way the second half had been going, it was like a lot of short drives from both teams, a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of five play drives. But they gave him the rock, and he ended it. He had a few long runs. He had a 13-yarder. He had a 9-yarder to really cement the victory for CD East tonight.
That kid is really, Jared Porter's been down. You haven't got to see Jared Porter. Jared Porter's special. I mean, he was Delaware commit, but maybe if he was a little bit bigger, maybe a step faster, he could have went somewhere bigger. He's been down with the ankle injury. Leon Parsons has really stepped up, and it'll be interesting when they get Porter back because, I mean, Parsons can carry. I mean, he's one of the leading rushers in mid-10. He's kind of shaky too, right? I mean, I saw him making some moves out there. I mean, tell us about that kid and what special from him.
The whole package, whether it's shaking people out or running people over, vision, everything that you want to see from a running back, he has. And Porter did play tonight. Actually, I believe he had all of the targets. So it was he did play. He had a nice 31-yard touchdown grab in the second quarter, I believe. So Porter did play tonight, and you can tell he is a very, very good player. But Leon Parsons is a very, very good back, and I've got to calculate the stats, but I'm pretty sure he had over 100 tonight.
Yeah, Ramir, what were the teams saying after the game? Were they dissatisfied with only winning by 9 points? What was the sentiment from the group from CD East?
Really, they felt like they should have won by more. I talked to Coach Akey, and he said that it felt like they lost because of them being so undisciplined, and there was a ton of penalties, whether it was post-snap or pre-snap. They had a lot of that. They had about 4 or 5 post-snap penalties, and those are 15-yarders. So he was very adamant about not being able to, or they feeling like they did not win this game simply because of the fact that they were very undisciplined. And he also mentioned that they kind of had a bad week of practice, but good teams are able to pull out wins, after a bad week of practice and overcome, disciplinary issues.
I'll say on the Carlisle side, this was, they played better than I expected to, especially for teams that beat up the last couple of weeks. You get anything from them on this?
I did, and I wasn't able to. They got off the field very quickly.
Well, it was a good performance out of them. I can see why CDE probably wasn't happy with this, but they are undefeated. And as you said, this is the first time in, more than a decade, right?
2011 was the last time CDE started for me.
All right, Ramir. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you checking in. It sounds like it was at least a moral win for, if you believe in moral victories for Carlisle this week.
Yeah, yeah. They played a lot better in the second half than they did in the first half.
All right, buddy. We'll appreciate you checking in.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Ramir.
I'll tell you what PA Trenches said as the District 3 4A tournament could turn out to be the most competitive this year. And I will say, looking at that, West York right now is at the top of those. But yeah, you look, Bishop McDevitt's not in there anymore, Austin, and now you got Wyomissing, who we know is typically pretty good. Lampeter Strasburg is in there. Twin Valley's good. Susquehanna Township just took this loss to West Perry, but we know they got some skill guys. West Perry is beyond expectation right now, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that is suddenly a really intriguing bracket. PA Trenches hit it on the head there. It really is.
I think it's going to be very interesting. And I don't know who to pick out of that group right now. I mean, if you got a favorite, let us know.
Yeah,
I think Wyomissing's probably a favorite again. We know they're not going to make many mistakes. We know they're going to run the football. Evan is coming in turned upside down.
Yeah, I was trying to time that. I was climbing into my car. I was going to make it look really cool, but it didn't look cool at all. I don't think so. Yeah.
No, it actually. I got to be honest. It looked kind of like an action film in a way. So
I want to make it very clear. I'm in the passenger seat of my car. I'm not driving. We don't drive and join PennZone.
We don't drive in PennZone here. Yeah, actually, that's the story of the night, isn't it, Brian? Is that just generally speaking, drive and just drive, and then other things you can do those in isolation too. I think that's probably the takeaway from tonight's show. Evan, you caught Bishop McDevitt with a big win over Cedar Cliff. What was your standout moments of the night, and what are your big takeaways?
Yeah, Bishop McDevitt kind of just stormed out of the gate and took this thing just immediately. 56-16 result. The story of the night: Stone Saunders, Kentucky commit for Bishop McDevitt. He entered this game 11 passing touchdowns away from breaking that all-time mark from Alex Irby for career passing touchdowns at 176. So with 4 tonight, Stone Saunders is just 7 passing touchdowns away from breaking that state record. Obviously, other ones in the mix, yardage, we'll see. But that's obviously the key takeaway of the night is all eyes on Stone there. Jonte Quick, heck of a performance. Had him down for 4 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown or 2. Everyone was kind of. Nazir Jones had a couple of rushing touchdowns. Maurice Barnes. This one was kind of over a little bit early, but yeah, story of the night. Obviously, Stone Saunders is closing the gap a little bit there.
Nice.
He needed, I feel like he needed a big game, and I think he's a heck of a player. But I feel like after he missed that throw at the end of the Harrisburg game, we know Stone can make those throws. And then, last week they started off slow against Chambersburg. It's good to see him get going again. He have another big game. He had a great first game. So Chris Parody said, let's go.
This is a good Cedar Cliff team. This program's been good for a long time. Obviously, McDevitt's kind of been on the big brother side of it for a little while now. But to your point, yeah, this is kind of if last week wasn't that bounce back game for Stone, this certainly was. So that's for sure.
What were the McDevitt? Who'd you speak to after the game, and what was their sentiment of, I don't know, where they stand in the overall big picture?
Yeah, I spoke with Lucas Lawler and Stone Saunders. They were talking about just obviously chasing another state title. Those two guys being seniors, they've been in 2 of them, won 1 of them. They're just hungry to keep on going, joining a harder conference, bumping up in classification. Double or single overtime loss to Harrisburg. All these things that kind of talk about a lot of folks kind of discredit with them being in the Keystone for so long, and this is kind of their chance to say, hey, we can play with the big guys. Obviously familiar opponent tonight, but that's kind of been the beat there.
We got dead air.
No, I was getting feedback. I'm getting feedback on myself. Sorry, boys.
All good. Well, it's a good win for them. Like I said, I felt like, look, it's not good for Cedar Cliff, but I felt like it was a good for McDevitt to come out and really kind of dominate the game, because we really do think they're kind of 5A state contenders. So that was a big one for them.
Yeah, certainly.
Evan, thanks so much for coming on. Safe travels home, or writing the story. We'll touch base with you soon.
Sounds good.
Brian, they didn't come as fast and furious this week. The games kind of all ended in a pretty natural flow. No crazy late outcomes.
No, it's I'm trying to get us a guy on here, so talk about this big win, but it's I don't know. Again, I keep going back to this West Perry game. That's so big for them beating Susquehanna Township, and I do think it, as PA Trenches was saying, 4A 3 Division 3 District 3 4A, man, is interesting.
Yeah, no, I love that shout. I mean, Why I'm Missing is always there. They've been so tough in recent years. Really, Final 8 of state, no problem. Lampeter Strasburg is always pretty strong. And Twin Valley is a team that they had previously been kind of middling in the Berks Conference, but
well, you know who they got
in recent years. They've absolutely been on the rise, and last year was a real, I would say, they're breaking out, and now obviously you see that it's continuing.
Well, you know who they got there. They got for a lot of people who are here in Central PA. I mean, they still are, but they have Brett Myers there, who was the Middletown coach, and he had Middletown's program rolling there for a couple years, and they went to a couple state title games. They didn't win one, but they went to a couple with him as the coach, and now he's there doing big things.
Yeah, Brett's a guy who I would have had interaction with during his stint in Pottstown. Actually, he was doing a few good things at Pottstown before heading over to Middletown. So, yeah.
What other scores we got tonight, Austin?
Let's break them down.
I'm going to try to get you a guy on here while you do that.
Yeah, Central Dauphin 21-6 over Altoona. Waynesboro defeated Redland 23-13. We already talked about State College, 30-14 over Cumberland Valley. They pulled away. Mechanicsburg 29-0 over Lower Dauphin. Very hot.
Yeah, we got popping in there now.
Yeah, these are some highlights from the West Perry game.
Yeah, this is Eric Epler's Twitter feed. We've brought in some just Eric was shooting video throughout the game, so I figured you might want to see some highlights.
Love that.
Also, I just want to say that, yes, Juniata shut out James Buchanan, but I do not regret picking James Buchanan. I was the only one on the team to do so because I feel for them and I wanted them to go 4-0.
Magnanimous, always.
We actually got a DM. Dan Sostek got a DM from a James Buchanan grandpa thanking us for talking about them on the PA High School Football Report. It's a team that doesn't really tend to get a lot of coverage, and they're very, very grateful. His grandson is the quarterback of James Buchanan.
Yeah, look,
love to hear it.
It's been the best start that they've had since I've been here, Austin. And they weren't exactly beating world beaters, but still, you got to start somewhere, and it's been a good start for them. And I don't think a lot of people expect them to beat Juniata tonight, but they went and took the loss, but still, good start for them out there, Cliff Pine and those guys.
Yeah, and hey, let's take that opportunity to plug the podcast, the PA High School Football Podcast. Brian Linder is a fixture on it, as well as the rest of the high school sports crew. Brian, what's been the recent headlines, if you will, from what you guys have been talking about on the pod?
Well, this week we just kind of looked at some of the guys. Like I said, if you go on our website Monday mornings, we have the list of the top statewide performances, Austin, and I think we had 180 something this week. So we kind of look back on, the side with Evan and Ramir and I this week. We try to keep an eye on the statewide stuff, who's really blowing up. Like, for instance, the quarterback for Notre Dame, Green Pond, is, right now he's leading the state in passing, and they're having some exciting games. Bordner is his last name, or Bodner. So we talked about some of those statewide guys and stuff like that on our end. And we talked a little bit too, but kind of about Harrisburg's big win over State College. We talk about what's going on statewide. We try to keep it sort of evergreen, Austin. So if you listen to it a week or two from now, it's still got some viability, but it's the only year-round football podcast in the state, high school football podcast in the state, and it's award-winning.
Yes. We just actually went back in studio. Our first studio episode of the year with Eric Epler and Dan Sostek was on Tuesday. We go into the podcast studio on that is in the bowels of Penn Live. You can also listen to the podcast on YouTube. There's our guys.
There it is. There they are in the flesh. Hey, Brian, you probably know this since you did research for it, but do you know how Matt Bodner ended up there in first place in the state passing? Maybe because opening week he threw for 604 yards and 7 TDs. That's how you build the stats. Okay.
Yeah, they've had some games like that. They've had some games like that. They've just been crazy. I'm trying to actually get a couple kids on here before we go off, Austin. But they've had a bunch of games as shootouts. I think last week he threw for 400, and I think he threw for over 400, and they lost. So trying to get these young men on here as we wrap up the night. Anything else jumping out at us tonight, Austin?
I'm looking through. I mean, we're in the throes of it now. 4 weeks in, the dust is settling a little bit, but I feel like at this time of the year where some of the, you don't always get the, actually we did have a bunch of pretty competitive games here, but I don't know, the season kind of settles in and you start to know who's who, who's chasing playoff futures and who maybe isn't. I don't know. Yeah. Another good night of action. I mean, at Gettysburg, 25-22 over Northern York. You like to see a close game there.
You got Bill Miller texting me his stats. Bill, I got to give Bill credit. Always kind of come down on coaches who don't send in their stats. Bill Miller sending me his stats. His team took a tough loss tonight. He sends stats whether they win or lose. Over at Northern. So big shout out to that guy. So like we said, folks, look, this is week 4 wrapping up. We got a few more minutes here, but look, we're going to start thinking here at Penn Live about, we do midseason all-stars too, and it's just kind of our way to kind of, tell you who's been who through the first half of the season. And it's crazy to think that we are fastly approaching that. And we've had some standout performances. We start thinking about like those first half kind of all-star type players, and I think it gets really interesting when you look just at the Mid-Penn Conference. We had Elias Kokel here tonight. I think he's probably in that mix. And Josh Smith, we talked about a lot tonight. I think he's probably in that mix. Look, Brad Hockenberry. I mean, you got to definitely talk about the running back from West Perry after tonight. He was averaging coming into the night over 18 yards a carry. 2 weeks ago it was 29 yards a carry. But they're still undefeated. And, not a name that you heard a lot in the build up to the season. But that kid has had a heck of a year. CD East is 4-0. Their wide receiver, Tanny Young, he did not have a big night tonight, I don't think, but he's had a big start to the season. And I'll be honest with you, another running back you got to talk about is Leon Parson, filling in for Jared Porter. He's off to a heck of a start of the year, so he might factor into that all-star mix as far as guys who've been the top guys at the positions through the first half of the year here. And we didn't necessarily, we had guys like, and I'm not, we thought the Harrisburg backfield with Messiah Mickens and Nehemiah Ewell and Deontay Sheffy might be carrying all those, but then again, when you think about it, they got 3 guys, right? And again, they went through a lot, losing really the top lineman in the state, in my opinion, and junior Kevin Brown and their quarterback. So that offense had to figure some things out. And I think they're headed in the right direction. But I think we've had some surprises through the first 4 games of the season. Austin?
Yeah, I think that Harrisburg factor is something that I'm keenly watching, is that because of the new faces, because of the adversity between the Brown injury and the Sean Lee ineligibility, it's what are they at the start of the year versus what can they become at the end of the year. I feel like it's a really intriguing storyline to see what trajectory they can follow. And you even heard it there where Messiah Mickens, as he was on the show earlier, sort of alluding to the fact that, it's you got to find your place in a team of stars. It's not you don't walk in and it's your show. It's a lot of, you look around and there's a lot of quality guys. So it's finding the right balance with team and personnel and opportunities. Because there's only one ball. So it's not going to be your number's not going to get called every time, but everybody has a role to play.
I'm kind of looking over the statewide scores. Williams Valley beat Minersville 42-36. They were off to a good start at Williams Valley again. Mount Carmel 7-6 over Southern Columbia. Southern Columbia's got 2 losses, and this is right before the midway point. I don't think a lot of people would have probably picked Southern Columbia to have 2 losses, but here we are. Jasper Schutt's popping in.
Jasper, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
So you guys won, and what was the final tonight against James Buchanan for you guys?
48-0.
Man, you didn't have to do them like that.
Well, our plan at halftime was to just come out, have one offensive drive, and then put the backups in, and we came out with a kick return to the crib. So
we cannot see you now, Jasper. You've disappeared into the night of Juniata.
Hey,
I saw your
Jasper. What stood out in maybe the week's preparation? Did you feel really good about the execution of what you guys were able to do? Obviously, it's a game that you're supposed to win and you're supposed to probably handle. But what were you pleased with the way the team was able to execute? Was it leaving something to be desired?
Yeah, we knew we were supposed to win this game, but we also knew that this was a 3-0 team, and they were hot and they wanted to come meet. So we knew that we had to have good practices all week, and we did. We definitely did. I think this was our best week of practices by far.
You guys,
why do you say that? What stands out as being the best reason for
it? Everyone 100% effort. Everyone, running everywhere. Just tempo, really.
Nice.
You guys got Camp Hill coming up next. That's going to be a fun one, I think. I like watching Camp Hill play because they like to throw it around the yard, a lot. I mean, are you familiar with them, Jasper? And what are you guys expecting there?
Yeah, we're definitely expecting, them to come out and just throw the ball all around. But we're going to try this week and plan and do our best to stop that and limit that.
Jasper, we appreciate you popping in, man. Next time, make sure we can see you, man. It's all marketing, dude. You got to let people you can see your face.
I know.
You should be one to talk. This is the best lit. Jasper, don't let him give you heat. He's coming in here in the dark most days, so don't let him give you heat.
I'm a vampire, man. I sit in the.
He's a vampire. Thanks for jumping on, Jasper.
Yeah, thank you guys. See ya.
Jasper Sheps, people, I'm telling you right now, Austin, one of the more underrated players. He plays out Juniata. Look, Juniata's had a good program. If he probably played at a bigger program, a lot more people would probably know his name, and that's no knock against Juniata. It's just, they're not out in one of your big cities or anything like that, one of your big time programs. But Jasper's a heck of a ball player. Gets it done on both sides. He led the mid-pen in interceptions last year with 8, and he caught something like 60 balls or something like that for over 1,000 yards. So he's a heck of a player. Juniata getting a big win. Tough night for James Buchanan, but again, as we noted, James Buchanan's having its best season in years. So nothing to be ashamed of there. I don't think a lot of people had them beating Juniata in this one. So
yeah, to be sure. All right, Brian. Well, what do we have to plug?
People pop in, man, but they left me hanging.
We'll have to queue it up next week. We'll have the guests ready. Maybe we'll since you were 18-1 last week, you already know who all the winners are. So we'll just put in a little plug to the people that are going to be on the winning side.
I don't think I lost the game this week. I'm just going to put that out.
Exactly. So you already know into the future of who's going to win the game. So we can just let those players on the winning side know that we'll be hoping to talk to them afterwards.
Yeah.
What do we have to plug?
Check out the PA High School Football Report podcast on Penn Live, as we said. 2 episodes weekly, 1 episode a week in the off season. We go year round. We got a lot of stuff. We'll be out covering games tomorrow, right, Austin?
Absolutely. We'll be at the Milton Hershey game, and we'll be at Chambersburg at Harrisburg.
So we'll have a couple of those games. We had the Harrisburg guys on the night, and then like we said, we have our Player of the Week polls on Sunday. If you're watching from around the state, and Monday mornings or Sunday evenings, I try to get that statewide performances out. If you don't see a player on there you think should have been on there, make sure that your coach or someone's kind of tipping me off. I spend a lot of hours scraping the state, looking out for that, looking for the top performances. Like I said, I had 180. Nobody else is putting out a list like this, like we are, Austin. And if you miss your people, they weren't there, or somebody didn't send it to me. So make sure I get that in time by 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings to put that list together. But if you want to get a good idea what everybody around the state did, the top performances individually, we'll have that either Sunday evening, Monday morning on Penn Live. And then we just got a ton of, rankings and stuff like that, right? Austin coming through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Saying Cougars, 3 exclamation point. Of course, our son's last Coke, and they're pulling for another Cougars win tomorrow, which I think everybody – Carolyn, if you guys don't win tomorrow, I might be more shocked than I was tonight over Susquehanna Township. So
yeah, I think it would be fair to say that you'd be a little more shocked than that one. Yeah, the rest of the night we still have game stories coming from Susquehanna Township at West Perry, Cedar Cliff at Bishop McDevitt, Lower Dauphin at Mechanicsburg, State College at CV, and CD East at Carlisle, as well as, hey, if we get the results, Brian and I will be writing them up. We'll have stories on every game that we get, as well as the statewide scores. Those will be posted ASAP. And yeah, we got great football coverage coming really every day from the PennLive crew. Everybody's a hardworking bunch, and we're loving what we've been doing, both from a mid-Penn standpoint, but also from a statewide standpoint. So keep an eye out for all of it. Keep it locked on PennLive, and thanks for checking in on PennZone.
This is all still a work in progress, people. And we appreciate you riding along PA Trenches, Chris, Paradin, Simu, Carolyn. If there's anything you think we should be talking about, let us know. We appreciate you guys interacting too. We just like to talk some football on Friday night. So,
hey, and tell your friends too. Let them know it's a cool, fun show that Brian and I are just we're winging it. We love following the games, following the scores. So join us next week and tell your friends. Have a great week. See you next time.